Hi, this is John with Off Center DJ School. Today we're going to be talking about Live 10, but we're not going to be talking about what button does what and this new feature does this and any workflow kind of stuff. We're going to take these new features and figure out how to get creative with them and figure out how to use them for our writing process. So if you want to open up Live 10, go over to this menu bar here. If it's hidden, you can just drag it over and click the demo live set. That's what we're going to be using because I know that everybody has that. So here we go. So something that's getting a lot of buzz in Ableton 10 is the surround panner and general use of surround stuff, since the future is getting a lot more surround with things like AR and VR. Another thing you'll notice is that Max for Live is now integrated in Live 10, which makes life a lot easier. The surround panner, if you don't already have it, you can go to the Ableton website. It's pretty easy. You just download it there. That's what we're going to be using to do some creative things and maybe ways that the surround panner wasn't meant to be used. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the surround panner on this vocal group. We're not going to get into it too much, but now Live has groups within groups, which is really fun. So this is our demo song. You'll come to be really sick of it, I'm sure. And this vocal group, we can see here that the surround panner is at the end of the chain, which is also pretty important. Now, how the surround panner works is that it sends part of the signal to one of 4 stereo channels, and you can set up how many channels you want. You can have 8, you can have 4, so it depends on what you want to do and in different configurations. That doesn't really apply to us here. We're just going to say like 8 circle, something like this, or 8 center, why not? What is important is that when we drag this around, it's going to be sending our signal to these different channels. So if we look over here, as I go around the horn here, the signal kind of gets sent to different parts or different channels. Now, the way that surround sound works is that those channels could be different speakers in our home theater setup, but we're not going to use it that way. We're going to make these channels different effects buses, which is a lot more fun. So I'm just going to add 4 different audio channels here. And that's Command T for those of you who don't know. I'm going to call this one distortion, this one delay, this one reverb, and let's do, I don't know, a low pass filter. Now I'm going to make a little effects group just to keep it tidy. And I'm going to populate some of these with effects. So I'm going to go over here, audio effects, might go into amp, drag that onto the distortion channel. Maybe I'll go simple delay, put that on the delay channel, reverb on the reverb channel, and I'll go with an EQ 8 on our low pass channel. Whoops. There. Now I'm going to tweak these and come back. Kind of like in cooking shows when they've already cooked the thing and they just bring it out of a different oven. Okay, fantastic. So what I need to do, and this is all going to make sense in a second, is I'm going to go in here and say, okay, my first output is going to go to distortion. Second one to delay, reverb, and then my low pass. And when I move these around, you're going to see what happens. So I'm going to hit play. Maybe I'll loop this section. Oops, Command L is a way easier way of doing that. Okay, same thing as before, but we're not hearing any sound change. And why that is we have to go into all of these tracks and we have to make sure that they're record enabled. And now we're going to probably hear something. So let me solo that up so you can hear what's going on a little bit better. I'll solo the effects, and I'll solo the vocal group. I'm effectively able to mix between a bunch of different effects using the surround panner in a way that I might not be able to otherwise. It's kind of like an XY sort of pad controller thing. And where things get really fun is if you start automating this. Ableton 10 is really good for jamming. I'm going to just select an area here, and I'm going to make sure that it's looping, and I'm just going to play that area. And I want to add a drum beat to that. Instead of using MIDI overdub and trying to record on top of what we've already played and all this kind of mess, I'm just going to hit play and jam. So not so great, but I liked kind of the idea of what I was doing in the last little section. If I like something and I stop, I can hit capture up here. Ableton will remember the last thing that I played and slot it in. And I'm definitely going to go through here and quantize this. So let's do that now. Select the whole thing. I'm going to go into eighth notes maybe. Quantize that. And all of a sudden I have a bit of a beat. This is a really efficient way of working, and it's also a lot of fun because there's not the red light syndrome of hitting record and everything being very precious. You can just sort of jam, and if something you like happens, you can hit capture and go back to it. For me, this is a really creative way of working and something that Live 10 does a lot better than Live 9 or other programs that don't have this feature. One of the things I like a lot about Ableton 10 is that it's a lot better at editing audio in their arrangement view. Now the demo project only has MIDI, so we're going to convert one of these into audio by freezing the track, and then we'll flatten the track when that's done. There we go, the magic of editing. Let's flatten this, and now it's actual audio that we can work with. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to zoom in. And the first key command I want to learn is I'm going to select an area and hit R. That's going to reverse that section of the region. We also have a new way of scrolling. If I cut this and I go Shift Option Drag, I'm dragging the waveform, but I'm not dragging the actual region itself. If I go Shift Command, and I hover over one of the edges of a region, I can then stretch that region out. You'll notice as well our fades are a lot more accessible here. And we still have all the other good stuff, like Command D for duplicating. So I'm going to go to another section of this. Let me zoom out, perhaps over here. And I'm going to do a little bit of cutting and chopping and remixing just to show you what you can do really quickly in arrangement view with all these new options at your fingertips. Alright, so I'm just going to select this, I'll duplicate it a couple times, I'll grab this one, I'll reverse it, maybe I'll reverse every second one, I'll zoom in here, delete this, add a bit of a fade, take whatever this one is, Shift Option, move the timeline out from underneath, and maybe I'll select this one, cut it out. And I'll stretch it, and I'll put a cut somewhere in between the stretch. And I don't know how this is going to sound, but it will certainly sound glitched out. And we can even go a little deeper if we want. Let's listen back to the original. I'll just take this and I'll drag it over. A lot different. So those are just some of the things you can do creatively with the new features in Live. My hope is that whenever you find a new feature in Live, think how you can use it creatively rather than just how it can speed up your workflow. Thanks very much.